bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Millennium TV 24, we're going to take a good look in the news today with me, Kim Seabrook. And I wanted to start off with this first story. Reason being, I want you guys to stay tuned, please. In my second segment, I'm going to have a special guest where we're going to discuss some issues with policing we had the other day. So to start off, MSNBC contributor zeroes in on who's to blame for New York City's crime wave. And it's laughably wrong. MSNBC host Stephanie Ruhle brought Cunningham and Center for Policing Equity co-founder Tracy Keesee on her show to discuss community policing and rising crime rates in major cities. Crime has become a key issue in New York City's mayoral race. When Ruhle asked about the New York City mayoral race, crime, and the defund the police movement, Cunningham said that everyone wants safer communities, but called policing ineffective. Defunding the police is not just about taking money out of an institution that continues to prove ineffective. It's also about refunding the people, she said. It's about ensuring that the services that the people need to ensure safe communities from the ground up are actually being funded and resourced to their full capacity. Cunningham blamed police unions and GOP operatives for linking the defund the police movement to rising crime. She said that defunding the police never actually even happened because in the 50 large cities in the United States, police spending as a share of general expenditures rose by 0.1%. So this rising crime is not the fault of the movement. It's actually the fault of the police, and this has been our point all along. Cunningham added, why should we keep funding systems and institutions that keep rendering themselves ineffective? Good question. We should be talking about gun control, livable wages, fair housing, education. That's where we should be moving the money to ensure truly safe streets. That's a good topic. Well, we're going to move on to the next story. As New York City faces steep recovery, voter heads to polls in mayoral election. Voters in New York City head to the polls on Tuesday to select Democratic and Republican nominees for mayor, following a campaign dominated by debate over public safety as the city recovers from the pandemic and confronts a surge in shootings. The winner of the crowded Democratic contest, who may not be known until mid-July, will be a heavy favorite to succeed term-limited Mayor Bill de Blasio in November's general election. Democratic registered voters outnumber Republican voters by more than a 6-to-1 ratio, state data shows. The next mayor will be confronted with deep challenges, including wealth, inequality, police accountability, a lack of affordable housing, and a struggling tourism industry in the country's most populous city of about 8.2 million residents. The leading Democratic contenders include Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, former presidential candidate and entrepreneur Andrew Yang, former Sanitation Chief Catherine Garcia, civil rights lawyer and former MSNBC analyst Maya Wiley, and City Comptroller Scott Stringer. The election will be the first mayoral primary to use ranked choice voting, in which voters rank up to 5 candidates in order of preference, adding a layer of uncertainty to the race. Voters also will choose from 8 Democratic candidates seeking to replace Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr., who is retiring. The nominee, who will be all but guaranteed to win November's general election, will inherit Vance's criminal probe into former President Donald Trump's business empire. Adams, a former police captain who put policing and crime at the center of his campaign, has led most recent polls after months in which Yang appeared to be the front runner. But Garcia, who has run a technocratic campaign focused on her long experience in government, has risen in polls after securing the New York Times editorial board's endorsement. All 3 are considered more moderate and have called for increased police resources to combat rising crime. Wiley, a liberal, has highlighted the protest against police violence last summer and proposed cutting $1 billion from the nearly $6 billion NYPD budget, redirecting the funding instead to other services, such as mental health counseling, which is so important. She has emerged as the preferred candidate for progressive groups after Stringer lost numerous endorsements in the wake of 2 sexual misconduct allegations. He has denied any wrongdoing. Almost all of the top candidates would make history. Why? Because Adams as the second black mayor, Yang as the first Asian American mayor, Garcia as the first female mayor, and Wiley as the first black female mayor. All right. And in the next story, here's why the Trump Organization is suing New York City. New York City might be in the middle of criminal investigations against senior members of the Trump Organization. Excuse me. But it was the Trump Organization that landed the first formal legal blow against the city. It has filed a lawsuit against the city government for trying to terminate its contract to operate the Trump Golf Links at Ferry Point, which is a public course designed by Jack Nicklaus. In a statement, the Trump Organization, which has ties to former President Donald Trump, said that the city was wrong to terminate its contract because it's fulfilled its side of the agreement. After the city wasted hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayers' money in its prior failed attempts to complete this project, we stepped in and, at the city's request, much like Warman Rink in the 1980s, invested over $30 million of our own money to deliver to the people of the city of New York what has been widely recognized as one of the most magnificent public golf experiences anywhere in the country, the company said in a statement. The organization further claims that the contract termination is politically motivated and that Mayor Bill de Blasio is to blame. The New York City government says it has a reason to terminate the deal. The Trump Organization was not able to attract a major tournament to the facility since it landed the contract in 2015, and it is not likely to do so because the PGA's position against the Trump course. But in an 18-page petition, the Trump Organization said it was never supposed to bring in any tournaments. It only had to sustain a first-class tournament quality daily fee golf course. The New York City government maintains it undertook due diligence before the contract was ended. A spokesman said that the city properly followed the termination process detailed in the contract, and we look forward to selecting a new vendor for Ferry Point that will further the best interest of New Yorkers. Mayor Bill de Blasio spokesman Bill Neidhart minced no words over how he felt about the contract termination. He took to Twitter to say, Donald Trump directly incited a deadly insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. You do that, and you lose the privilege of doing business with the city of New York. It's as simple as that. All right. And next we have New York City Mayor says Amazon Prime Day is perfect day not to shop Amazon. I can definitely understand that as the city needs to rebuild after so much loss from the pandemic. But Mayor Bill de Blasio addressed business economic recovery efforts for small businesses around the city by first acknowledging that Monday was the start of Amazon Prime Day. Today's Prime Day, it's a perfect day not to shop Amazon. It's a perfect day to keep it local, to buy from neighborhood stores, the mayor stated, as he unveiled the tongue-in-cheek concept of being a prime shopper, asking New Yorkers to shop in their city. De Blasio also highlighted that shopping local would support Amazon workers. While Amazon has gotten richer and richer, their workers have not, the mayor said, quickly pointing out that Amazon is Staten Island's largest employer by adding that the e-commerce giant has repeatedly blocked attempts by its employees to unionize. Amazon maintained that it has a strong track record of supporting our people, our customers, and our communities. Following the mayor's briefing, Max Gleber, an Amazon spokesperson, said in a statement, but this is a series of misleading assertions by misinformed or self-interested groups who are using Amazon's profile to further their individual causes, Gleber said. In an attempt to help New Yorkers start new businesses and further contribute to the city's economic growth, De Blasio announced a new program on Monday dubbed New York City's Business Quick Start, which he said will make New York City the easiest place in America to start a business. We created a small business concierge. Literally, you want to open a business? You call the City of New York. You get a specific person, a facilitator, someone who's going to be with you throughout the whole way to cut the red tape, to make it simple, to get the answers, and to get the doors of your business open, de Blasio said. With a guaranteed 48-hour response time to respondents, the mayor added that he was committing $11 million to the initiative and dedicating over 100 personnel across a variety of city agencies to help New York City small businesses. Now, if that does go by, that is definitely what we need in New York City. But we can't help the convenience of Amazon, and that's why it's so popular, especially during the pandemic when everything was closed. But moving on, New York City principal got caught trying to end classes a week early. A Manhattan principal was caught trying to wind her school down for the summer more than a week early, while still having kids sign in each day to cover her tracks. School of the Future Chief Stacy Goldstein sent an email to families Thursday saying that there would be no in-person or remote classes this week, but that kids still had to sign in electronically to satisfy attendance requirements. Angry parents said no explanation was given for the early conclusion to a tumultuous school year. Even though there will be no in-person or remote school tomorrow through June 25th, we will need to take attendance for the whole school, 6th to 11th grades, tomorrow and next week, the email read. Parents told us that they were angered by the sudden severance, especially given the limited instruction their kids were offered this year. You should never end school early, said one mom, but if there was ever a year for more instruction rather than less, this was it. There was a lot of frustration over this, and they're having kids sign in for classes that aren't happening to cover themselves. I say, you know what? It's the end of the year. It's been a rough year for the kids. Let them just go. But let's keep moving forward. A Department of Education spokesperson shut down the school's attempt at an early summer Friday. Our students need to be learning every single day of the school year, and a school communication suggesting otherwise is not acceptable, said DOE spokesperson Danielle Filson. The principal is following up with the entire school community to clarify that students will be attending school and receiving instruction until June 25th. School of the Future officials sent out a new guidance after Filson's statement just Friday, stating that I would like to clarify the schedule for next week. Goldstein wrote, I apologize for my miscommunication. Next week, we have regular attendance days, meaning that all students are meant to be present, whether in person or remote, following their usual schedule. Other parents said they were already bristling at a meager in-person instruction and flagging academics at School of the Future this year. I say just let them stop early, give them a break. Everybody needs a break. Moving on, Biden. Biden has a mess on his hands with Kamala, who could usher in another Trump term in 2024. What must have been President Joe Biden's reaction watching his vice president disastrous interview with NBC Lester Holt? I'm going to have to run again, aren't I? Come on, man. Kamala Harris is not a good politician. She has cackled at several inappropriate times her way through the early days of the Biden administration. There's no joke, mind you. It's just a nervous tick that gets her through the many moments when she has no idea what else to say. Okay. That's our vice president, though. Her Twitter feed insulted fallen heroes in service of her own glamour on Memorial Day. She snapped at a reporter who lightly pressed her with a follow-up question, a trait her boss has now adopted. She bizarrely lectured graduating cadets at the U.S. Naval Academy about rolled-up solar panels, and she's causing headache after headache for a White House that must collectively hold its breath before her every event. During her run-in with Holt, Harris nearly flew out of her chair, claiming she had been to our southern border, where she's supposed to be managing an unfolding migrant crisis for the president. But when Holt reminded her that she had not, in fact, been to the border, she said, and I haven't been to Europe. I don't understand the point you're making. Wow. Abby Phillips called the moment cringeworthy. Holt was right. Harris still has not traveled to the border to liberate, as folks on the left might say the thousands of kids being kept in cages. She did go to Guatemala, however, on a hard-to-watch trip that was panned by reporters and even the White House insiders, who were there to said to be perplexed by her statements. During the Trump years, Harris frequently slammed the former president for hateful anti-immigrant rhetoric. Her tune changed, though, when Air Force Two landed in Central America. Instead of dipping her toe into foreign affairs, Harris fell in. Her message, "Do not come to the United States," had the vice president reprising her role of California bad cop who thoughtlessly locked up thousands of black youth for minor drug offenses. Next thing you know, she'll be erecting a southern border wall herself if she ever gets down there. When Harris isn't laughing through the interviews or failing to manage Democratic priorities like immigration and federalizing our elections, which is, by the way, thankfully dead on arrival in the U.S. Senate, she's leaning into the worst kind of identity politics. Well, what we're going to do is go into a break, and we'll be right back in the second half with my special guest, Melanie Archer, to
Millennium
discuss some
TV,
issues.
bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome back. I am Kim Seabrook. We have a special guest, Miss Melanie Archer, and I'm just waiting for her to get in right now so that we can discuss what happened at our Juneteenth event over in Yonkers. Hello, Melanie. How are you?
Hey, Kim. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining me and us.
Thank you, Brian.
Sound like I did a little tune right there, right? No, but I'm excited to have you on because Sunday we celebrated Juneteenth over in Yonkers. Big thank you to Tom Ray and the Yonkers Association. Give us some feedback on you're a native Yonkers, but tell us what Yonkers Juneteenth is about, real quick and brief. Just to give some viewers some insight on what we had.
Sure. So, Juneteenth actually, so I'm originally from White Plains.
Right. Okay.
We've always had Juneteenth celebrations, even here in White Plains on Main Street and Mamaroneck Ave. And then as I transitioned and moved over to Yonkers, I started noticing and realizing that Juneteenth was also in Yonkers and in the park. And so I would say this would be my third or fourth year now. Attending the Juneteenth in Yonkers, which is absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
Festival, absolutely amazing. The positivity, the music, the dance, and the poetry. It's just a beautiful thing to experience.
It is, especially, you know what it is, because it's all ages and it's from the young kids. They're dancing. You got teenagers, and I emphasized this the other day on social media. You got teenagers happily dancing and participating in this event. That's a hard thing to do in this day and age, okay? Then you have us, the 30, 40-year-olds, and then you have your elders. And everybody is just showing genuine love. There's never no fights, never no arguments. I don't ever see anything negative since I've been going there for the past 5 years. However, the other evening, we're wrapping up. We're making sure that our ladies get into the car safe. We're making sure that the tables are being folded. People had tables, people had chairs. We're making sure that we are good. Because why? The police were there. Did they make sure that we were good? No, that's not how they made us feel. Unfortunately, they came up to us with a nasty attitude, talking to us aggressively, telling us that we have to get out because the park is going to close. instead of saying, and you could say it exactly how they said it, but instead of saying, ladies, are you okay? Everybody's getting home safe. I know we wrapping up, just don't, linger around. Or can I help you? How can I be a part of this community to make sure that the residents of Yonkers or whoever's visiting Yonkers is safe? Because that's your job. Not to give us an attitude and talk disgusting to us. But go ahead, Melanie. Tell us how you felt that moment. It was,
So, really quick, before I even get to Juneteenth, Kim, I've lived in Yonkers now for about 6-7 years now.
Okay.
And I've seen a few things that I always, I've been very vocal about not liking when I'm watching and seeing a few things. Like, for instance, one time I was coming out of my street, and my street is a one-way, getting ready to turn onto North Broadway, and here comes a cop coming down the wrong way. But Kim, there was no alarm, there was no sirens, there wasn't anything to alert oncoming traffic to let you know that he was coming down. He almost ran into me. There wasn't a sorry, there wasn't a pause, and it wasn't like he was rushing to an emergency. He was just taking the easy way down to my street.
Wow.
And it's just, and when and I just noticed things like that. Once again, policing in the neighborhood, just a heavy presence. A lack of sympathy, empathy, however you want to put it, just no smiling, nothing. And that was the same way they were basically displaying themselves Sunday on the last day. So it was funny that you and we didn't even say a word to one another. I brought it up and you said, oh my God, I thought I was the only one that noticed it. I was on the phone with a friend of mine and I said to her, I'm so sorry. I said, my head's just somewhere else. It's because I saw it. Not one, not two, but about four.
It was 4 of them. 2 Caucasian, 2 African American, and we have to state that. Yes.
Yes. Well, that was just to appease us, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with Kim. So they had 4 officers coming in together, patrolling and getting everyone organized and settled for the night, which was completely fine. They were just doing their job.
Absolutely.
But we had such a beautiful event for them to not smile, for them to come in aggressive, and for them to just basically just mean mug everyone that was at that event was just, to me, totally uncalled for.
Exactly.
If we are going to have officers to police our communities, I always make this analogy, or this comparison, I should say. It's like going into someone's home and not introducing yourself.
Exactly.
If I were at home, Kim, and I didn't introduce myself, and I said nothing to you, and I mean mugged you at the same time, you would want to tell me to get out, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
You would feel my. Absolutely. Even if I said, would feel the energy. You would say, hey, you know what? Why don't you? You can leave. That presence are in our community, and it has to stop.
No, it has
to. Going over to one of the officers in a very polite way, of course, respectful manner, and just letting him know we had such a wonderful event. Smile,
exactly. It's so funny because I wanted to say something too, but I had to catch myself before I didn't say it nicely. You know what I mean? Like, who are you talking to like that? First of all, we are part of what's going on here, and we're making sure that our people are safe, including ourselves.
That's right.
Everything was so beautiful. But let's say that I was a man and I had went back to that gentleman or to that officer, you know what I'm saying, with an aggressive tone back him. That would have turned ugly. And whose fault? We would have been caused. We would have been looked upon. Oh, Juneteenth event, and they made this a national holiday. But look at how they're acting. But no, you guys didn't see how we were treated to begin with. But if we would have flipped on them and gave them an attitude and talked to them that the way they talk to us, it would have been a whole different situation.
100%. Energy is everything. When you come and you make yourself known and you walk up to people, it's everything. I'm going to tell you another quick story.
We already have something that doesn't connect with us as it is. You know what I mean? Like, why would you make it worse? Why would you make us feel worse than what we already feel when we initially see you from the beginning?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And policing started with slave catching. So why would we have a connection?
Exactly. Exactly. It's the same
Um,
thing. It's an overseer, basically.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely. What did KRS once say? Another thing too, today I noticed there was this little boy. I don't know. I think you remember that little boy that came up to buy water from us.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You remember? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cute, just the cutest, sweetest little
He
boy.
really is. Yes.
Had a fun. He was having a wonderful time. Went out there where he was dancing, and when I looked over to my right, he was talking to one of the officers,
Mm.
and it almost looked like he was trying to tell one of the officers to join in.
Wow.
This
That
is
would have been
what
a
I'm-
nice gesture.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
It would have been so nice. Join in with us,
Mhm.
dance with us, do the electric slide with us.
Right.
You
Right.
know, you saw the energy, you saw the crowd. No one was being violent, argumentative, nothing. We were
Nothing.
just having a wonderful time. But I tell that story because the youth, they're looking at you. The babies are looking at you.
Mhm.
You know, they're still in their head. They want to grow up to be firefighters and police officers.
Policemen. Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's like important for you to be an example to our community.
Yes.
And to show these young babies what it can be and not have them look at you in such a negative way.
And
It's
be in fear, because that's what it is,
fear.
unfortunately. Because we fear for our lives. But then you just make it more like you put a stamp on it, like, yes, you should be afraid, instead of making us feel comfortable. You just put that stamp on it at the end of the evening, and that was so hurtful because we had such a beautiful time, and that thing could have just totally went left because the way that they came to us. If we would have
Yeah.
addressed them the same way, it would have totally went left. So what do you think we could do for the next event? Do you think we should go to the stations and maybe sit with them and express that, you guys need to be a part of the community, not a part of the problem?
One 100%. I think we need to be more vocal. There are town hall meetings that we need to start attending. We need to make our face known just as much as the other residents in Yonkers. And we also need to we need to communicate, and we need to speak up. We need to speak up for our neighborhood. Everyone else does it.
Right.
We need to speak up for our own neighborhood, and we need to let them know. I understand, there might be crime and they're, and they're focusing, but I was always told, when you're looking for something negative, it's gonna find you.
Right.
Stop looking for it. That
Right.
day there was nothing to look for.
Nothing.
It was a beautiful moment.
Nothing. You should have offered your assistance to help. Especially, it was 4 women. It wasn't nobody that looked aggressive, nobody that looked like they was going to start some trouble. It was 4 women making sure that all of us was safe and that the other people that we were also with are safe as well. And that
Absolutely.
was their job, though. That's the funny thing. That's their job, right?
Yeah.
Protect and serve.
And I'm not sure if the commissioner spoke the first day of Juneteenth, but that would have been nice too. That would have been nice for the commissioner or one of the officers to welcome Juneteenth into Yonkers. Granted, it's been, several years that we've been doing this event, but still, now that it's a national holiday, not that we needed it.
Exactly.
Like you
Let's
said,
make that a point.
but still, it would have been something that would have been solid for
Right.
them to do to welcome the event into Yonkers.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. I
Could've been-
totally agree. We have to do something going forward. So I'm sure we'll all connect because, like I stated, Yonkers is definitely a part of my home and my heart. And the way that we felt that evening was definitely uncalled for. We should not be leaving a beautiful event feeling just disgusted, like we were less than, like, what are you talking? Did you not see how powerful? I think that's what it is. We are so powerful that was probably the problem. Oh, now you have you know what I got from it? Oh, now you have a national holiday. Screw you and your holiday. Pack up and get out. That's but we don't need the holiday. We've been celebrating before it was recognized. You understand? And we're going to continue to celebrate, whether it's on Juneteenth, whether it's on Friday the 12th or whatever day, we're going to still continue to celebrate our greatness, our blackness, and our power and our strength through community, through love, and through, through each other. And that's how we're going to do.
Absolutely.
So, Melanie, you want to say anything, any last closing words before we move forward on to my next segment?
I think it's just important that we are present. We show our faces. We speak up. We show up. Speaking up and showing up is very, very important. Absolutely. When they have challenges, let's be present. Let's be there, and let's express ourselves. Because if we show that we don't care either, that's just going to be the message across the board.
Absolutely.
So, but
absolutely.
Things are definitely changing, and I'm so proud of us.
Yes, I am definitely proud of us. I don't think it's that we don't care. I think sometimes we're just tired of saying the same thing over and over again and not seeing any changes. But we have to do something. We have to figure something out, because they have to come into our community with some grace and some respect.
Right, I agree. Yeah. No, it's not that we don't care, but we need to show up.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Our words and our voice is just as powerful.
Absolutely. So you heard it here from Melanie Archer. You heard it here from Kim Seabrook. We need to show up and show out in a positive way, and let's take care of us and our community. Melanie, I thank you so much. We're going to go into a commercial break, and I will see you around. We will build some more. Have a good day. Mwah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you for tuning in, Millennium TV 24. We're going to go into a commercial break. We'll be right back. I'm Kim Seabrook. Hello, cut the break.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
And we are back, and thank you for tuning in. And we always like to take a good look into what's going on in the world, in the community. And we just had a really nice segment with Melanie Archer to describe what we felt the other evening. But I want to go back to the story that I was finishing up on Kamala Harris. And she is the first female, first black, and first Asian American vice president. In many ways, she's a poster child for all that's possible in America for people of color. Well, a story which includes service as District Attorney of San Francisco, California, Attorney General, and a United States Senator shows how far our nation has come on matters of racial and gender equality. But Harris's remarkable political rise is at odds with her endorsement of teaching critical race theory in schools, which tells children that America was and still is a racist nation. It is also woefully unpopular, according to recent polling. That's the end of that story. I just wanted to finish off and make sure we stated what was going on with Kamala. But in global news, fears for Cambodian environmental activists accused of insulting the king. A human rights group has raised fears over the welfare of 3 Cambodian environmental activists who have been detained on charges of insulting the country's king and plotting an attack against the state. Sunratha, 26, Lai Charandrath, 22, and Yim Linghi, 32, were arrested last Wednesday after they filmed sewage in the river near the royal palace in the Cambodian capital, Phnom Penh Sarit Ruos, from the Cambodian Center for Human Rights. They told the trio, who are members of environmental group Mother Nature Cambodia, are being held in prisons in Phnom Penh that are extremely overcrowded. He said it is especially worrying because they might be in prison with serious criminal offenders. He added, we are very worried about them. We are very worried about the conditions in the detention centers because there has been a COVID-19 outbreak. He said by Cambodian law, a trial must take place within 6 months of charges being brought. Over the weekend, accountant Ms. Ratha and the master's student, Mr. Linghi, were charged with conspiracy to plotting and insulting the king, also known as the lese majeste offense, which carries a maximum prison sentence of 10 years and 5 years, respectively. Law student Mr. Charandrath was charged with plotting. Mr. Ruas said the Cambodian authorities were accusing the activists of inciting people to topple the government, adding that they deserved praise for bringing environmental issues in the country to light. The government shouldn't use legal harassment against human rights defenders or environmental activists, he said. Charges of lese majeste are rare in Cambodia, but in February 2018, the country's criminal code was amended to include the offense of insulting the king, which prohibits anyone from defaming, insulting, or threatening the monarchy through speeches, gestures, scripts, writings, paintings, or items that would affect the dignity of the king. But according to CCHR, in the 3 years since the law was amended, 8 people have been charged for allegedly insulting the king, and 3 of them have been convicted. That's no freedom of speech in that country, huh? But next, migrant children report overcrowding, spoiled food, depression in the U.S. shelters. Migrant children sent to emergency shelters with the United States describe crowded living conditions, spoiled food, lack of clean clothes, and struggles with depression. That's according to 17 testimonies filed in a court case on Monday. The children aged 9 to 17 and largely from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, in some cases spoke of waiting for months inside emergency shelters overseen by the U.S. government while struggling with the conditions, including trouble sleeping under bright lights and infrequent phone calls to family members. The testimonials offered a detailed look into the conditions within a network of emergency shelters hastily erected by the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden to deal with a sharp rise in the number of unaccompanied migrant children arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border. But in recent months, the children have been moved more quickly out of crowded border patrol stations and into the emergency shelters as a part of efforts to connect them with family members or other sponsors in the United States. The children's testimony is recorded between March and early June, suggests that Biden administration, which has promised a more humane approach to immigration, in some cases struggled to provide optimal care for the children. So about 14,500 unaccompanied children are currently in the care of the United States Department of Health and Human Services. This is so disturbing. Down from 22,000 in late April, HHS was not immediately available for comment. Yes, very, very disturbing. Next, the NDLEA arrests over 2,000 drug traffickers in Nigeria. Over 2 million kilograms of assorted drugs have been seized, with over 2,180 drug traffickers arrested by the NDLEA in Nigeria within the last 5 months. The chief executive officer of the NDLEA, retired Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, disclosed this while unveiling a week-long activities to mark International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking in Abuja, Nigeria, with the theme Share Facts on Drugs, Save Lives, In addition, the NDLEA boss explained that about 2,100 drug cases have been filed in court, recording over 500 convictions, with 1,549 cases that are still pending in court. These results have given us big insights into the magnitude of the drug problem. NDLEA cannot win the drug war without the help of citizens. We all owe Nigerians the duty of ensuring that drug abuse and trafficking do not thrive in this country, Marwa pleaded. He noted that the carnage caused by narcotics and other substance abuse calls for the need to drive the message on the importance of having a drug-free Nigeria and action from all stakeholders. Part of the activities was that the launch of the standard policy and practice guidelines for NDLEA counselors by the Chief Executive Officer. According to Marwa, the agency cannot win the drug war without the help of citizens, and we all owe Nigerians the duty of ensuring that drug abuse and trafficking do not thrive in this country. Drug abuse as an enabler of all forms of criminality, a hydra-headed monster that must be crushed if we must move forward as a nation. The NDLEA boss stressed the need for synergy with other sister law enforcement agencies for maximum impact. Also speaking at the media briefing is the country representative, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, Mr. Oliver Stopi, who expressed the commitment of the agency to work with the Nigerian government and other agencies for a free drug Nigeria. He said drug abuse represents a great threat to Nigeria's health security. Other activities marking the week-long International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking includes radio and television programs, advocacy, visitations, special prayers, and formal launch of war against drug abuse. And that's by Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari as a grand finale on the 26th of June, 2021. Next, as U.S. declares Juneteenth, I want to say this again, let me start from the beginning. As U.S. declares Juneteenth, new slavery ended, right? It's a new slavery ending holiday. But Supreme Court rejects lawsuit by slaves in Africa. Child slaves trafficked to cocoa plantations in Africa can't sue Nestle for general corporate activity in the U.S. The Supreme Court has ruled on the same day that President Joe Biden declared a new holiday marking the end of slavery. This is ironic and absurd and unbelievable. On Thursday afternoon, Biden signed a law establishing Juneteenth, National Independence Day, as a federal holiday commemorating the end of slavery. Its date, June 19th, refers to the day when African Americans in Galveston, Texas, were informed that slavery was over in 1865. It was adopted unanimously in the Senate, and with only 14 House Republicans opposed on the grounds that it celebrates identity politics over unifying principles. Mere hours earlier, 8 justices of the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of Nestle and Cargill in the case known as Nestle USA versus DOE. The company's U.S. branches were sued by 6 former slaves from Mali who were trafficked to cocoa plantations in Cote d'Ivoire as children. There, they had to work long hours without pay and very little food and were beaten with whips and switches, according to the lawsuit. But Nestle and Cargill do not own or operate plantations in the Ivory Coast, but they do buy cocoa from farms located there and provide those farms with technical and financial resources, the Supreme Court acknowledged. Sure. Okay. However, they agree that the lawsuit was an impermissible extraterritorial application of the Alien Tort Statute, since the respondents' injuries occurred overseas and the only domestic conduct alleged by respondents was general corporate activity. Elizabeth C. McLaughlin, she's the Justice Thomas, she writes, the next opinion overruling extraterritorial application of the ATCA, thereby letting Nestle off the hook for child slavery. I handled a couple of ATCA cases in my day, and this is a depressing ruling. The ATS, also known as the Alien Tort Claims Act, is a law that goes back to 1789 and the earliest days of the U.S. judiciary. The case was originally filed in 2005 before a federal judge in California who dismissed it. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals reversed the judgment, and the case made it to the highest court in the land. The sole dissenting voice was the conservative-leaning Justice Samuel Alito, who said he would have sent the case back to the lower courts. Terry Collingsworth of International Rights Advocates, the group that filed the suit, called the outcome a heavily divided opinion with an unclear result, and said that they would seek leave to refile it in such a way that it would meet the standard citing by the majority. As established by the 2013 case Coble versus Royal Dutch Petroleum Company, Collingsworth added that he hopes Nestle and Cargill would use their resources to stop relying on child labor. Let's say that again. Will use their resources to stop relying on child labor as they pledged to do in 2001, rather than fight this for more than several years and spend additional millions of dollars on lawyers, lobbyists, and public relation firms. And next, last but not least, we're going to end this off in sports. 21-year-old Sha'Carri Richardson, did y'all see her? Did you guys see that? Is now one of the fastest women in America. She lands a spot on U.S. Olympic team. Track athlete Sha'Carri Richardson, she won the women's 100 meters at the U.S. Olympic track and fields trial on Saturday night. The event took place at the Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. Richardson sprinted into the finish line in the final seconds, earning her a winning time of 10.86 seconds. The second place finisher was Javine Oliver, coming in at 10.99 seconds. Tahina Daniels finished third in 11.3 seconds. All three women have earned a ticket to the Tokyo Olympics. They will be participating in the Olympic Games for the first time. 2016 Olympian Jenna Pradini will be an Earth alternate for the Olympic team, placing fourth in 11.11 seconds. Family members cheered from the bleachers to celebrate Richardson's victory. She showered her family with hugs and participated in an interview. She stated that she was asked to share her emotions and talk about making her first Olympic team. So she states, emotionally unbelievable, as she describes the moment. The fact that I am an Olympian, it's been a dream since I've been young. I'm pretty sure everybody's dream as a track athlete. Being happy is an understatement. I am highly blessed and grateful. While Louisiana State University, Richardson broke the collegiate record at the 100 meters at the 2019 NCAA Outdoor Championships. In April, Richardson garnered attention for clocking a speed of 10.72 seconds at the Miramar Invitation. She made headlines as the sixth fastest woman in history, with the fastest time ever in Miramar, Florida. Her then world-leading record put her in the category of the top woman on the all-time track and field list. Florence Griffith, Joyner, Carmelita Jeter, Marion Jones, Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, and Elaine Thompson. According to the Runner's World, Richardson is now ranked second in the world. She's right behind Olympic champion Shelly Ann Fraser-Price of Jamaica. Fraser-Price ran 10.62, representing the second fastest 100-meter time in history. Richardson is a fan favorite and is well on her way to making history. I am getting ready to change the game. I am good. I am as good as I say I am, and it's something I haven't really expected, something the world hasn't been expecting, the runner shared after her race in April. Congratulations to her as we celebrate history with another woman. And we will be ending this right now. Thank you for taking a good look in the news with Kim Seabrook on Millennium TV 24. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.